Okay, welcome. This is Andy Lee Graham, and I'm in the country of Colombia. And only my Patreon supporters get to know specifically where I'm at. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham, and I've traveled nonstop for 25 years. I've been out on the road for 25 years and in 114 countries. But today I'm going to tell you how to spot body language of happy people. I'm going to try to keep it the body language. I hope I don't go off track. I tend to wonder, my brain just wanders all over the place, which is probably a sign of a happy person, but it's not body language, right? Okay, but I can show you how to find happy people, happy men, happy girls, happy, just fun souls, okay? I can show you how to buy everything at half price. This is kind of the two things I aspire to do, is show you how to buy things at half the price of everybody around you, okay? And I try to show you how to, because if we had happy people, and if we had people living within their means and really feeling comfortable on the amount of money they had, we could have a really good world. Okay, so I'm going to tell you some body languages that it seems obvious. I was talking to a gentleman the other day, and I was like going, why do you keep talking to these people? And I was like getting kind of frustrated because there's like all these excuses why we should talk to depressed people. And you let in AA they say let the assholes be assholes, which means if they're a jerk, let them be a jerk by themselves, okay? Don't help them, okay? Don't feed the trolls, okay? When a troll does something, when a flamer does something, when an asshole does something, you let them do it on their own and let them die for lack of attention, because what they're really wanting is attention. Okay, but I like to show people how to find happy people. I wrote a book about the pocket guide to meeting new people. Okay, and it's if you search under Andy Lee Graham under Amazon or something, you'll be able to find it. And it's very, very simple, and I'm sure I'm going to get some bad reviews because it's just too much common sense. Okay, 25 ways to meet new people. But I could write another book here right now, like maybe 50 ways to spot the people that you might want to go talk to. Okay, I'm laughing because it's kind of a sequence. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie is a really excellent book, but it kind of assumes that you're already talking to him. So he's missing two pieces of the pie: how to spot the happy person, then how to somehow enter into a conversation. Okay, but what's interesting about happy people is it's pretty easy to enter into a conversation, okay? So I'm going to talk about some of these things, and I might keep making this kind of video. So this is version 1, okay? And I think as I add more, I should make more videos on this. How to spot happy people, the body language of happy people. I'm going to tell you, but I've been promising myself, Andy, please tell an interesting story about something related to your videos before you go into any kind of list of stuff. And I have learned that people that take notes, if you don't take notes, you got to somehow engage your brain to remember things. Sometimes I hit the button K on the PC and it stalls the video, and I can repeat to myself the words, the thing, like they show the names of TV stars, and I want to know their name, and I'll say it out loud. I won't just watch it, I'll say it out loud, and sometimes I'll repeat it 4 or 5 times. But things good enough to learn are good enough to write down and file away. So how do you file them away and do it? So, okay, so number 1 is obvious: smiling. If you see a person smiling and they're just smiling for no reason at all, and they just seem to always have a perma grin on their face, and it's not from marijuana. Okay, that is a signal of a happy person. Don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean they're a good person, it just means they're happy, okay? The next step is whether or not they could be a friend, which is a lot of happy people are, can be very bad people. It's kind of funny. Sometimes the happiest of all people are the ones which are the thing. Like I always laugh when I come up to, I forgot to tell the story. I always laugh when anybody comes up to me in a foreign country and starts speaking English and they're being real friendly. it's normally because they learn to speak English and they're real friendly so that they can try to buy something or con me or do something like that. So I really avoid people that come to the first time I enter a city and they walk up to me really fast. That is probably the problem child of the village. Okay, they know that talking English is a trap for Americans, right? Okay, but I'll never forget. I was in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I took this girl out on my first date, right? And she was kind of late. I arrived at her house and she invited me in, which was real nice. And she had this dog. And I didn't know anything about the dog, right? And it's kind of a big dog. But I didn't think about it. And she didn't tell me anything. But she went in to, finish getting prepared or whatever she was doing. And she kind of took a long time. So finally, she had a really great couch, right? So I lay down on the couch. Okay, the dog's like roaming all over the place. And I mean, she's taking a long time. Well, next thing you know, I was working a lot at the time. I kind of fell asleep. And a dog jumped up and went on the inside of the where I was sitting and like snuggled up in between me and the back of the couch, right? I didn't think anything about it. I'm not going to be very pushy with the dog, right? I didn't want it to leave. I just wanted it to be happy. It was a very happy, clean dog. Oh, the girl came out and said, "Why is that dog sitting there?" And I go, "I don't know. I don't know the rules of this house, but it obviously thinks that it can jump on the couch." I thought she was upset because the dog was on the couch. No, she was upset because the dog was laying next to me. And I sat there and I was like, "Oh, let's replace the dog with the girl." But I don't think she would have really liked that. But it was one of the funniest things ever because this girl got really angry, and she goes, "This is a new dog, and it won't even come to me." And I go, "I don't know what to say." I'm sorry. I said, "I'm sorry. I don't know. Dogs and children like me. What can I do? I mean, what am I supposed to do?" But she was really angry and kind of jealous at the fact that the new dog that she just got wasn't cuddling up next to her. And I was like, "Oh, you can, in today's modern world, I could say, put a chain on her and make sure that dog can't get away from you. That's the way to control a dog. Or put it in a cage, make it a little slave, walk it around with a choker on it." But it was a funny story, okay? Okay, the girl with the dog. So the first number one thing is a smile. If you see a smile, and you kind of want to see that the smile is kind of even when they're walking around. I was going to talk to Cliff and try to get his preacher to tell me how to spot a soul, okay, a happy soul, because if we can surround ourselves with happy souls that are on a higher spiritual ground, we might be happier people. But we have to find out who is walking around with a beautiful soul. Okay, but a smile. And truly, I like to use the word glee. There's a glow about certain people that smile. They have a glow and a little karma around it. They call it a chakra or something in these Ayurvedic, in all these woo-woo terms. But they have a glow about them. There's a radiance about people, and we feel that smile, right? Number two, they looking around. A happy person is not looking straight ahead. They're walking around, just looking at the world because they haven't got any worries, and they're just looking at. I am constantly looking at everything. Okay, so a person that's looking around with a smile. And then number three, they stop to observe. They're not, they are taking the time to smell the roses, as they say. If a person cannot take the time to smell the roses, they're way too busy to be a friend, right? Kind of obvious, right? Number four, in any kind of crowd, they stop to talk to many people. They shake hands with them, and they know how to they're formally meeting each other. A person that has no formality to the meeting, like yesterday I kissed Mercedes on the cheek, because the other day she came in and kissed me on the cheek. I was laughing because I wanted to make sure she realized I don't smell like cod liver oil all the time. She kissed me on both cheeks, and I had just earlier that day put cod liver oil, and that is not the thing you put on before a date or meeting of anybody. Mercedes is a real nice lady that owns the restaurant. When I walk in, You can always tell. She always looks at me, gives me one of these eye things, right? Oh, I should add that to you. Give you the eye thing. Eye thing. We want to see the eye thing. They raise their eyebrows. Okay. The eyebrows raised. I have a Google Docs that I'll put in the description to this video. Okay, so eyebrow raise. Sometimes I just do it. In the Philippines, one of my most popular videos is showing this Filipino girl raising one eyebrow. You can really practice that. Mel Gibson was giving a thing and asked him why he was a very good actor, and he animated his face. Okay, but you should practice that, especially if you want to be an actress. Number 5, stop to talk to many people. Okay, if a person is a happy person, they attract other people. And next thing you know, even the miserable people like to go talk to a happy person, right? So they have a lot of camaraderie, and you can see it. They're not just walking down the road, street, road, whatever, by themselves. Happy people actually like to walk, okay? I should add that one. Happy people walk. They like to walk around. Unhappy people stay in their car, go through the drive-through at. I always wonder why anybody would ever go through the drive-through at Starbucks. Got to be the most expensive coffee in the world. You might as well enjoy the environment at the same time, right? I don't really want to, pay way too much when McDonald's is normally right across the street for 45 cents or $5 for the exact same coffee. And one is, whatever. Happy people walk. So people that are walking around are often happier. But always try to see the glow and the smile on their face. But stops to talk to many people. Sit where people meet. Happy people will sit where they can run into other people. Unhappy people will go to a restaurant corner where nobody could ever get to them. Their body language is to go hide, okay? Sometimes there are timid people, and there's introverts that are a whole other thing, right? But an introvert can have a glow and a smile on their face, okay? Doesn't mean just because they're afraid and anxiety-ridden that they can't be a happy person. But the goal of this video is to try to explain that of all the cultures on the planet, see, what happens is every culture has a percentage of people that are smiling, right? So like in, a lot of you know me talking about Lake Atalan. Lake Atalan, the Guatemalans got about a 90% chance. If you say hello to them, they're going to say hello back, okay? In the Gringos in San Pedro, you got about a 1 in 20 chance they're going to say hello back. In Panachel, it's a little higher, maybe 1 in 10, okay? Some of these guys got to really choke it up to say hello back. I mean, just don't understand how to spread joy. Okay, but number 7, they sit where people meet. We sit where people can actually come up and be our friends, okay? When I see people answer the phone, number 9. Number 8, laughs at things that happen. A big dog, okay, they laugh at funny things that are happening in their environment. They don't just try to ignore it. Like today, this dog, we have these really big birds here, and this dog goes chasing it across the park. It was hilarious. I start laughing. I'm looking around to see if anybody's looking at this funny dog chasing anything. And the dog would have been sitting right in front of me, and it just took off, right? It was on the prowl to go after this bird, and I was proud of the dog. Really, these are really too big of dirt birds for the park, right? Number 9, they answer the phone. So when the phone rings, they answer the phone. Okay, so a person that always ignores the phone or only will text, hard to say they're happy. They're not really wanting any kind of confrontation. They're not willing to spread joy in the world. So maybe everybody that ever calls them seems to be a burden. That is not the sign of happiness. So answering the phone. If you see a person, like I've got it as one, everywhere I go, I always have a dog that adopts me, right? In the plaza down the hill from here where I eat breakfast sometimes, they have 2 dogs that just sit next to me. and then there's this little light-colored brown one. I noticed that. That's kind of interesting. I had that light-colored brown one in San Pedro Lake Atalan that sit in front of me, and now I got another light-colored one. They're a little smaller here. The dogs are smaller here. They're not as big as they are in Lake Atalan, but it sits right in front of the thing. And I don't feed them. I don't feed dogs hardly anything because I feel like I'm in a restaurant. I don't really want to attract dogs in there to cause a problem for the clients, right? You know, feeding dogs in the street, it just makes more dogs. Okay, dogs and children attracted me. Children, when I'm sitting around, children often come. My mother was laughing. I was making a video in Lomé, Togo, West Africa, and oh man, these three children, they were hilarious. I'm sitting in this chair, like a plastic chair, like I'm sitting in right now, and these kids start climbing all over me, and it's kind of hard to concentrate. But I am not going to ever be stern with a child, okay? I'm not going to push them away or whatever. And my mother was just laughing, and she was so happy to see that video because it makes her feel good that her son is a lovable person. But these children will climb all over me sometimes. The other day, this girl was jumping on both sides of me. I was talking to this kind of crazy woman from the United States, and she goes, "Why is that girl talking to you?" I go, "What do you mean?" "Well, because I'm a nice person." And she goes, "Why are you talking to little kids?" I'm sitting on the bench. This child jumped on the left side, jumps on the right side, jumps in front of me, jumps behind me, does everything, starts playing with my peanuts. So I opened up the peanuts and gave her some peanuts. And she goes, "Why are you talking to those?" I said, "You got a problem." I said, children do what children do, and I'm not going to be causing them a trauma, especially because I'm a foreigner in this country. And they don't want their first experience to be some sort of aggressive foreigner, right? Like, get out of here. People will say, "Get out of here" faster than they'll say, "Get out of here" on a dog. But people are much more protective of the dogs than they are their children. Number 11, happy people don't look away as they look at it. When you start to look at them, they just make eye contact and give you a nod or a wink or a smile. A wink, I suppose, is a good one. But I don't think I'll add that to it. But if a girl winks at me, yeah, they blink their eyes. If they touch their hair, that means they like me. But that's a different kind of thing, right? That's more thing. I was trying to make a video I tried to make a YouTube channel, a playlist, and I was collecting videos on how to spot happy people. I really couldn't find any, okay? But maybe the algorithm will serve them up. But I had the terms how to spot happy people, and I couldn't find any. Finally, I realized that how to spot girls that like me or how women can spot men that like them is kind of the same thing, but it's not a universal thing. So be real careful. There's people that are really nice to you, but only you, and you really want to see that they're nice to everybody before you call them a happy person. There are people that will come up and talk to me and be mean to everybody else. That is not a happy person, a very selfish person. They should spread their joy around with everybody. But happy people don't look away. Number 11, they make eye contact and they feel that it's a kind of an obligation, especially when they walk in a room and there's like two people. They're walking in a room, I'm in the room, and they're in the room. We're only two people, and they don't even make eye contact. That is an unhappy person. Okay, number 12. Always look around to see who's close. So like I was sitting in a coffee shop today, and I am always, even though I'm reading a book, I'm always looking up and seeing who's around. I'm looking around, seeing who's around, looking around, trying to check out the scenery, making eye contact. Number 13, eye contact. If happy people are willing, they're confident people, and they make eye contact. No eye contact normally. Now, be real careful here. There are people that are extremely shy and extremely timid and are very anxiety ridden. And that doesn't mean almost when I'm sort of flirting with the girl, the meaner she is, when she's really mean and almost like disgusted, blah blah blah, I often know that she likes me. Okay, contrary to what you think, man-female relationships can start out with polar opposite. You see it on all sorts of videos that these two people hate each other, then they turn around and fall in love, right? Um, eye contact. 14, regulars at restaurants. So if you see a person every day at the same location, whether it's the restaurant, the coffee shop, the donut shop, or whatever, these are gregarious, happy people. Okay, they like it. Now there's also the people that will do anything to avoid work, and the joke about the policeman sitting at the coffee shop, right? But people that are happy will have regular restaurants. If I go into a city and say I'm talking to expats in a village or any kind of thing, I ask where the place where people hang around and drink coffee together. If they have no clue where this is, they really don't understand happiness. Okay, they're not really looking to have friendships and they don't understand community. But there are people who can name off every single hangout, right? That's my kind of friend. Okay, I will caution you. If you're going to be a happy person, if you're going to define yourself, that means you're an equal opportunity person. You talk and say hi to everybody. I say hello to everybody. I don't have to. And if you really want to meet girls or men, you want to meet, you say hi to all the friends of the girl that you want to meet. Get that? You got to say hello and endear yourself to the people around the girl you want, maybe before you talk to the girl. Okay, regulars at rest. Number 15, arms wide open. People that are friendly are often are standing with they're not crossing their arms, and they're basically thinking. But you got to have that smile and that glow and that good soul about them, right? But I accidentally, when I was in Lake Atalan, the Mayan girls do not hug the foreigners. Okay, they're like the Amish. They don't intermarry really. Okay, and I'll never forget because Sophie was I was standing in front of the supermarket, and I held up my arms like this, and she came and gave me a hug, and I go, whoa. But be careful. Don't put up your arms like that and walk towards them. Let them come to you. Don't make anybody feel intimidated, okay? Very difficult to learn the rules of passage. Here, in most Latino countries, a formal greeting is a kiss on each cheek, okay? Sometimes it's one kiss, depending on the country. Some countries it's one cheek, some countries it's two cheeks, some countries it's three cheeks. Shh, 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 shh. I don't really know what to do with those Italian guys that want to kiss me on the cheek. Really don't really know what to do with that. I helped push you. I was in Argentina and I stopped, and these guys had a car that wasn't running, right? So I helped them push it up this kind of grade because that grade was causing a problem. So they were going up a little hill. So I helped them push, and these two guys came up and kissed me. Because there's a lot of Italians and thing. I was like, okay, that was not they weren't. When a man kisses you, you realize they're not being mean, okay? But on the other side, I said, that's not part of my culture, right? Okay, the people that are sitting close to you, okay, regulars at restaurant, arms wide open, comes and sits next to me. Okay, today at the gym, this girl with kind of fuzzy hair, she's kind of she's an interesting girl because she got some mixture of blood in her. I think she's, more not mestizo, more mulatto. Mulatto is the combination of black and white people, and mestizo is the combination of white people with indigenous people, like tribal people. And this girl is more mulatto, and there's quite a few around here in Colombia. And it's kind of a, nice color to their skin. It's like permanent tan, right? She sat down next to me. I mean, she was like almost brushing next to me, right? And that is the sign of a happy person that brushes you. But you got to understand that isn't universal. If they're touching and shaking hands with everybody, that's a good thing. If they're only shaking hands with me or touching me, that means that's a different thing. That doesn't mean they're happy. But you got to spot how people don't really worry how they treat you. A good person isn't how they treat me. When I'm sitting there with a girlfriend at the restaurant, it's not how they treat me, it's how they treat the waitress and the people working and everybody in the place, right? That's what you want to see. How they treat me is, well, that's kind of be expected, right? Um, come won't leave. A girl the other day was going up the stairs of the gym. Every single business in this town seems to be on the second floor. It's a very good place for exercise. So I'm walking up the gym. She stops. I say hello. She stops to work on her phone halfway up the steps. And then I say hello. So she starts going, you from the United States? Yes. And she's talking in Spanish, of course. And she won't leave. Okay. I'm like the volume was way too high for me to really understand her words. And she was very excited that I was from the United States. And I was laughing because I couldn't politely leave because I was kind of vulnerable, right? Because it was really dark in this stairway, and here's this kind of gorgeous girl in tights, really close to me, talking, excited, and I was getting timid, right? And that's not normally my nature, but she was very excited, but she won't leave. That's body language. But you got to see this with people that have time limits on how long they talk to people, as if I'm always laughing when one of my friends, I'm talking to a friend for an hour, or we're talking for 2 hours on the phone, and they tell me, well, we talk for 2 hours on the phone, and I go, that's a good thing, okay? That's not a bad thing. They think it's something wrong with that, and I go, you don't understand. Friendship is talking endlessly. It's not just talking for a limited time. Um, you know, any kind of friend that wants to talk to you for an hour is a thing. There's this guy, Jeffrey Halls, I think he did his study in Kansas City University. He said, Jeffrey Halls? I tried to interview him, but he gave me all this double talk, right? Doesn't really know how to be friends. Okay, but he gave me, he says that a casual friend is 50 hours of talking, and a good friend is after 200 hours of sharing time with somebody. So you want to get up to that 200 hours with a lot of people, right? And that means that you have some common interests, some intimacy shared. But I ran out of things for today. I'll add some more to this list, and we'll talk about it again. But there's a sequence. You got to spot happy people. Do not try to change the world. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom. You can't change people. You change your pants, you can't change people. So if a person's got a permanent frown on their face, you hope it's just for that day. But if they're always, every time you see them, got a frown on their face, or you're walking down the street, choose your battles. Choose the happy people and make life easy. Don't just choose the girls. Don't just choose the people that come up to you. Choose who you're talking to. Often people that are coming up to you, and especially as a tourist, are there for nefarious reasons. They are not your best friend. Just because they're talking to you doesn't mean they're your best friend. Just because they talk English, people learn English so they can sell things to you in foreign countries. I'm real happy where I'm at. Hardly anybody speaks English. It really means that these countries are not the people here in this village are not thinking about money, because learning English is normally, they do it to make money. They don't learn it to be friendly. It's the universal lingua franca. Okay, but when you walk, so the goal is you walk down the street, you spot somebody friendly, you kind of observe them. And happy people are observing people, right? And you observe the happy one, and then you can sort of make yourself in their area. Then in the book, in this book that I have, Pocket Guide to Meeting New People, How to Turn Complete Strangers into Friends. It's just a little book. It's meant to be put in your pocket, and it's meant to be putting notes in there and adding things to it. It's not meant to be a great big long dissertation on the things. It's meant that you got a cheat sheet. Like you can just go through the index and use just that. And the goal is that you know how to open a conversation. So you got this first thing first, you spot the qualified person to be a friend, right? Then the second thing, you can go through this list of ways to open a conversation, okay? And then the third thing is you read Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Very good book on how to friends. And I'll give you a short on Dale Carnegie's book. Dale Carnegie's, you remember their name. Okay, and when you see them, you say their name. That's the 1 minute version of Dale Carnegie's how to be. If you don't care enough to remember their name, you don't care. Okay, so I always ask people's name, and I collect them, and I have it in my Google Keeps and on my computer. I have all the names with a little memory cue next to it. When I put a contact in my phone, I put the reason where I met them and the city I met them and things like that. And I have a complete system on how to remember names. If you don't care at all to remember a name, you're not a happy person. Happy people want to remember names and they want to be charismatic. A lot of you use all this stuff for business reasons, and I really think you ought to learn how to be a friend to anybody before you learn how to be business. But a lot of you came up in some really violent families, and I understand that. Some of them live in New York City. I feel sorry. New York City and Jamaicans, they get along. But be friendly, be confident, be happy. There's happy places on the planet. There's many, many happy. The world is not ending, guys. But we could go on to the next conversation is how to know when you ought to walk away from a person. Maybe I ought to write that book. I'm going to type that down. How to know when to walk away. How to know when to walk away. When they got a big dog that's barking at me and they got on sunglasses, I just say no. Life is good, guys. Become a Patreon member. I'm realizing I'm going to go up to about $1,300 or $1,500 in income. I already have about $600 or $700 on monthly income that comes in. And when I get up to $1,500, I won't have any use for more money than that. So I will stop the Patreon thing because there's no use taking money from people that doesn't really, I don't really have a need for it. I don't have any need for anything. I got a backpack. What am I going to carry in my backpack? My biggest thing I spend money on is my inventions. I got an invention I did yesterday that I had the boards cut too small. Now I got to go do it again. Talk with Freddie. Freddie's like looking at me like, Gringo, what do you want? I keep trying to laugh. He's pretty serious. But life is good, okay? Life is a great place, and there's plenty of beautiful people on the planet. And if you think there's not, you're talking to the wrong ones. Learn how to talk to the right ones. Okay, I'm here and you're not. Why not? It's because I can always find friends. This is very, very important for me that I spot friends, because in less than 1/2 day in a city, I have to be able to feel like I'm going to have some friendships and somebody to talk to. And so I'm very good at working the crowd, right? I can work the crowd. I can find a hotel at half price. I think I pay half of what everybody else on the planet pays. I hardly ever pay full price. I'm laughing because they always want to sell me a great big bundle of parsley. And I go, I just need about this much, and they charge me like 20 cents, right? And if I go into the supermarket in America, I have to buy a whole pack of parsley, and I'm not going to eat that. I go, that's really a problem with packaged food. You have to buy everything, right? You can't just buy what you need. I really think all markets should have a massive amount of bulk food, so we can buy just what we need instead of what we want. Okay. There's a problem there, right? What you want and what you need. What you want and what you need. I like to buy just the amount of food that would be healthy, right? Not too much. Happy people actually care about their bodies. Oh, we shouldn't talk about that. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham. Become a Patreon, and that will enable you to email, talk to me, and visit me, and I will expose and tell you where I'm at and things like that. Okay, life is good. Hit the subscribe button. I'm always forgetting to say that. Life is good, and you actually get to know where I'm at right now. I don't tell anybody anymore. I'm finished.